All right, well, welcome back to our Keystone mini message. This week we're going to continue looking a little bit at this story in Matthew 14 of Jesus walking on water and calling Peter out of the boat. But now we're really going to jump into this story a little bit more. And so what happens here is the disciples have set out in the boat. They've gone out into the Sea of Galilee. They're fighting the wind and the waves all night. And in the middle of the night, Jesus comes walking out to them on water. And at first they're scared. You don't expect somebody to be walking on water, obviously. So they're a little bit scared. They're a little bit nervous about what's happening here. And Jesus tells them that it's him. And Peter looks at Jesus and he says, "Jesus, if it's you, then tell me to come to you." And so Jesus calls Peter out of the boat to come and walk to him. Now, what I want you to think about is just what a leap of faith this was for Peter. And what it looks like for maybe for you to begin to take a leap of faith. But Peter had grown up spending his life on the water. He knew that if he steps out of the boat, he sinks in the water. But because Jesus had called him and he was beginning to see and understand who Jesus was, he thought, I will take this step. I will take this leap of faith and I will step out over the boat. And I think that sometimes we look at Peter, because if you know this story, you know that ultimately Peter ends up sinking after a minute. And we look at Peter and we maybe judge him a little bit for his lack of faith. And we'll get to some of that next week. But the reality is that Peter was the one that stepped out of the boat. The other 11 were still sitting in the boat. And so I just want you to imagine the faith that Peter had to have had as he leaned out and took that first step out of the boat into the water. And the amazing faith that he has in this moment. And I just want you to begin to think about, what steps of faith have you taken in your relationship with God? If you have seen who he is, if you understand who Jesus is, when's the last time that you got out of the boat? When's the last time that you heard Jesus calling you to do something impossible and you said, "I'll go not because I can do this, but because I believe and I trust that you can do this"? Because I really believe that until we are putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations, we're probably not growing in our faith. So when is the last time that you took that uncomfortable step over the edge of the boat into the water and said, "You know what? I trust you. I believe in you. If you have called me out, I will take this step of faith"? And if we as followers of Jesus were daily taking those steps of faith, then people would really begin to see the Jesus that we know and love, and lives would be changed. So I just want to ask you to think about two things. One, when is the last time that you took that step of faith? And two, what can you do today or this week to just step out of the boat, to step into a place where you need God to show up? And if he doesn't, you're going to be in trouble, because that's the kind of faith we're called to live with. So just think about those things as you go through this week and what it would look like for you to begin to step out of the boat.